Welcome to the Free Cities podcast. My name is Timothy Allen, and this is the official podcast of the Free Cities Foundation. Hello, and welcome to this episode number 60 of the Free Cities podcast. Well, as we cruise well and truly into the year of 2024, this week I thought I'd offer you up another of my conversations that I recorded at Liberty in Our Lifetime, which is, of course, our annual conference held in the beautiful city of Prague. Today's guest is a gentleman by the name of Ivan Ko, who is a real estate development and finance veteran from Hong Kong, who more recently has turned his hand to the production of 21st century charter cities in his role as the CEO of Victoria Harbour Group. In this conversation, we discuss Ivan's reasons for leaving his homeland of Hong Kong after living there his whole life, and the ensuing international journey that has ended up with him pitching a very ambitious free city project to a council in no less than the southeast of England, very close to where I was born actually, and it was very interesting to hear Ivan's case for choosing the UK for his project. It's quite unusual in the free city space. Anyway, I hope you enjoy the chat. Ivan's details are, of course, in the show notes if you would like to reach out to him. Or you are very likely to run into him at one of our London Free Cities meetups. So check our social media and or Telegram channel for the next one of those. And in the meantime, of course, choose your favourite comfortable seat and just sit back, relax, and enjoy my conversation with Ivan Ko. Obviously, I think one thing that might be nice to talk about is the subject of your talk, which unfortunately I was recording podcasts, so I didn't hear your talk, but That's obviously not a problem because we can talk about it now.
Yeah.
I get a better version of it, I'm sure.
Okay.
But before we do, would you mind just telling me a little bit about who you are?
Okay.
And then possibly how you came to be involved somewhat in the Free Cities arena, let's say.
Yeah. Okay, sure. Well, thanks for having me here. And I am a Hong Kong person. I was born in Hong Kong, and I always have been working, living in Hong Kong. I have not been, I have not leave Hong Kong for more than a month in my past.
Really?
So I always describe to my foreign friends that I'm made in Hong Kong. And I studied there, I worked there, and I have never thought about leaving Hong Kong except for two times. One is when we have this Tiananmen Square massacre in the 1989. I applied for Singapore's visa, and they approved me, so I can move to Singapore. But I didn't do it, and I think Hong Kong, I still want to live there and work there.
Can I, before you go on, that's interesting. What was the situation in Hong Kong around the time of Tiananmen Square?
At that time, we were very concerned because we believed that something is happening. I mean, the massacre in itself is very, very sad, and we don't believe that the government just send the soldiers and shoot at the people randomly, including the students. They rode the tanks over these tents in front of the Tiananmen Square, where the students were inside the tents, and the tanks just ran over them. So it was bloody, very sad, and Hong Kong people were both sad and angry, and we tried to kind of stop it, but we couldn't. And so we took to the street. At that time, I also joined the rally protest with 1 million people.
So a lot of people from Hong Kong went to...
No, not to the Tiananmen Square,
but
in Hong Kong.
In Hong Kong.
In Hong Kong,
Okay,
in the
right.
Victoria Park, we protest.
Okay.
And so at that time, a lot of Hong Kong people think that the Chinese Communist Party is crazy, and we don't want to live there anymore. So, so a lot of us apply for visas and passport for in other countries, and Singapore was the most popular one. And the Singapore government at that time took a lot of Hong Kong immigrants, especially those with good qualifications and academic achievement. University graduate, you can just go there.
I travelled around Southeast Asia when I was in my 20s and 30s, and
I see.
Singapore was somewhere we often came to.
Oh, okay.
To go somewhere else.
I see. Yeah. I think Hong Kong at that time, it was one of the best cities in the world. I mean, if not the best, it was very free. We have all kinds of thoughts, ideas, criticism, views, opinions, information from around the world, from pro-Taiwan to pro-Beijing to pro-Western, I mean, everything. And the creativity industry was booming. The whole Asia were looking up to Hong Kong. And so, yeah, that was the time when we have the most freedom and also a lot of future prospects.
So the second time you thought of leaving?
Just in the year of 2019, when we have this anti-extradition bill, the protest, because a lot of Hong Kong people, we are very afraid of this extradition bill, because Beijing want us to pass a legislation which allow Beijing to accuse any Hong Kong people in Hong Kong who have been in China before, and accuse us of committing some crimes when we were there, and then they can use this law to extradite us to the mainland China for trial. And that is totally out of all our expectation, because if the trial is in Hong Kong, then that's subject to common law. It's still doable. I mean, we won't accept it, but then at least it's still acceptable. But extraditing Hong Kong people to China for trial, that's totally unacceptable. So 1 million Hong Kong people and 2 million Hong Kong people took to the streets for consecutive 2 weekends, and I was in one of them. So we think that China is now they want to have a full control on Hong Kong, and that was very obvious, because President Xi, after he took office, he kept on doing things which try to increase the control onto Hong Kong. And so I think at that time, I started with some conversation with my friend, who is a international relationship scholar, and we talk about developing some projects in overseas for Hong Kong people to move to and to live there. And I told him that I have done a lot of real estate projects in my life, and I'm not interested in. What I will be interested in would be international charter city. So that's how I started. And once I started that, there were two things happening. And at that time, one is I was being criticized or targeted as a separatist, because I received interviews from the media and newspapers talking about my plan And so the pro-Beijing media said that I am a separatist and I should not do that and that sort of thing. The other thing is we started looking at projects in Ireland, UK, US, Indonesia, and so I think, as a real estate professional with my background, real estate is not like a financial product for stock markets. You can just read the paper and you rely on the paper to make the judgment. Real estate is that you have to go there, look at the sites, check around all the things, talk to people, talk to government. So you have to be there. So that's the two reasons why I have to leave Hong Kong.
I've got a load of questions, but firstly, just quickly, your real estate portfolio, is that a worldwide portfolio or is it just a Hong Kong one?
Mainly Hong Kong and mainland China.
Okay.
And I did some project in US and UK, but not significant.
Okay, I was just wondering how much experience you had of
I had
doing things in foreign countries or is it China?
Yeah.
What did happen in 2019? What happened after the everyone took to the streets? What was the result in the end?
Okay.
I mean, I remember the millions of people on the streets because I, like I say, my other life, I was a photojournalist.
Okay.
And I have friends that were there. And in fact, I used to run a photography scholarship. And one of the guys that won it one year, won it with a portfolio of pictures from the protests. And they were astonishing. There were so many people. I just wonder what happened because I never really followed up what the result of all that was.
Okay. Well, in June, we have the major protests. 1 million, 2 million people took to the street. But the government just insists that they have to pass this law in the Legislative Council, the second reading and the third reading. And so we think that the government is not listening. So on the July 1st, the young people, the protesters, they broke into the Legislative Council, kind of a damage. Did a lot of damage to the building. I think that the belief is that once they damage the Legislative Council, so the government cannot use the Legislative Council to pass the law, and they also want to show their anger to the government, which is not listening to the people at all, because 1 and 2 million people compared to the Hong Kong population of 7.5 million is a big number, and but the government just turned a deaf ear to the people. So after that, then the police escalate their violence towards the protesters, and we understand that there are some, we don't know, maybe mainland police or whoever mixed with the Hong Kong police and then treated the protester very badly, and some of the protesters disappear, so the situation escalated a lot until September, and the chief executive said that the bill is dead and it's no more. So it took us half a year to make the government retreat, and originally she still want to said that the bill is not withdrawn, it's just suspended. So Hong Kong people say no, and so it continued until maybe September that year, and the government said that we withdraw the bill. So until then, we still have a lot of unrest, social unrest.
And does that give you hope for Hong Kong then? Does that make you believe that maybe Hong Kong's
Well, in that year we had, I think it was that year that we have a district council election, and that election, I think it was the big success, big victory of Hong Kong people, because the pro-democrat camp won about 70% of all the seats in district councils, and so that give a very warning and threatening signal to Beijing that if they let this carry on, then the whole legislative council in the future would be, the majority would be the pan-democrats. So, yeah.
So you mentioned earlier that all things like this, these kind of events, caused you to think about the possibility of moving.
Yes.
And why was your thought, instead of moving to, say, America or moving to Singapore, why was your thought now a charter city?
Okay.
I mean, that's quite a big, quite a big jump.
Well,
most people would think about just moving house. You're thinking about building a whole city. Yeah.
Well, that's very interesting, because I think I have been thinking about doing an international charter city for a number of years before that, because at that time, I think, we have a lot of Asian retirees, baby boomers going to retire in the next few decades, and we have been living in the urban city like Hong Kong for a long time, for several decades in our whole life, and we may want to have a new living environment, like a rural environment where I can grow my plants, vegetables, and raise some chicken or fish or whatever. A more healthy life and less urban sickness. And so at that time, I was researching on the internet, and I found Paul Romer's material, who is a professor.
Sorry, is that Paul?
Paul Romer.
Is that Romer?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
You
Paul
got it.
Romer. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know
he
that
was
name.
the professor in the New York University, and he has been proposing this international charter city since the year of 2007, and he did some several TED Talks. And so after listening to him, I think, we can do it. His model is more government to government, and trying to bring the new system or more advanced system into the developing countries from the developed countries. But the two government has to be guaranteed. So my model is different. And at that time, I looked at Malaysia, and I went to East Malaysia several times to look for land to develop this international charter city for baby boomers to retire, to have a new life. But very sadly, when I was raising the fund, this MH370 plane disappeared, and that caused a lot of concern of the Chinese investors. So the mainland Chinese, they didn't go to Malaysia for a few years. And the plan was shelved, and I didn't pursue anymore. And when my friend called me about in the middle of 2019, talking about building some projects overseas, I said, why not we do international charter city? Because I don't want to just provide an opportunity for myself and my family to move. I think a lot of Hong Kong people want to leave Hong Kong, but how? I mean, after they left Hong Kong, then they just try to fit into the new environment as a immigrant. But according to what I know, many of these Chinese immigrants or immigrants from Hong Kong, most of the time, the second generation, the third generation, they don't speak Cantonese anymore. Some of them, they don't even can read Chinese, and I think the culture will be lost. And at the same time, moving with the big number of Hong Kong people moving to other countries, I think we should have the critical mass for the demand to build a new city.
Your sense that people want to leave Hong Kong, do you think that's... what's the biggest reason? Is it that people are getting older and they want to retire to something more rural, or is it because of the impending, the Chinese Communist Party being relatively close now?
Okay. Well, in fact, retired people seldom want to make a move or change their lifestyle. They just stay in the city where they have grown up and work there all along. But then the international charter city, which I want to develop in Malaysia, was more related to baby boomers who are going to retire. They want to to have a more green life, healthier living. That was the original idea. But then for the international charter city that I want to develop for Hong Kong people, that's totally different. It's going to be a new city built from ground up, and then it can be just like another urban area where people live there with infrastructure, with commercials, with retail. So it's another new city where they can find their new life. But I noticed that in the previous several waves of immigration from mainland China and Hong Kong, we will develop some Chinatowns in the old cities or in London or in Amsterdam. But then those Chinatown is something I don't like, because when I go there, the planning is, the urban design, the outlook, the streetscape, everything is a mess. And most of the time it's not clean. And also at the same time, I think as new immigrants going into an existing city, it would spoil the lifestyle of the people in this neighborhood. And I think it would be better to develop something ground up, greenfield, and start from scratch, so that what we want to pursue can be implemented here.
Something I thought of, and I think it might be more applicable to a city built by Asian people, would be that you would be considering generational living. More,
intergeneration.
Is that true? Because when I think about people from my country moving to a charter city, it's very much a young couple just leaving. But I know I have many Chinese friends, and I know that the intergenerational aspect of life is way more important. Is that something you take into account? And if so, how do you take that into account when you're thinking about a charter city?
Oh, very good. In fact, I think for this wave of Hong Kong people leaving Hong Kong, we are in search of freedom. And also, most of us would look forward to democracy and participation in the community matters. And at the same time, let our young children to be brought up in a free and democratic environment, free and open at least. And so that's what we want to do. So when we want to develop this international charter city, we have several principles. One of them is integrated. It has to be an integrated city in this in several sense. One is intergenerational. Meaning that old people live with young people and with families, so that Hong Kong people can bring our dependents, children and parents over. And that's the first thing, because we believe that it would be healthier for old people to live with young people. And so it would be better. The second integration is it has to integrate with the local people, not just Hong Kong people, but also the local people and people from around the world. The third integration is about, if possible, if the land is big enough, then we would like to have a work-life balance for the residents, meaning that the home is not too far away from where they work, maybe 15 minutes drive, half an hour drive, and then they can take care of their home, their own life together with their work. But we certainly understand that nowadays work from home is the new trend, but at the same time still people have to go back to their factories or to office, to their shops to work. So I think work-life balance is the third dimension of integration that we would like to do. So it has to be an integrated city, and at the same time there are other principles that we would like to implement, like family friendliness. We would like the environment to be family friendly, and the second thing is to have this neighborliness, meaning that we want to foster good neighborhood, because we believe that in Hong Kong, neighborhood was very good in the 50s, 60s, 70s. But after we have all these high-rise buildings, neighborhood disappear. We don't know each other. Next door, we don't even want to say good morning in the in the morning. So we would like to rebuild the neighborhood because we believe that neighborhood is a very good support, mental support for each other. And the third one would be to foster younger generation, especially an environment where the younger generation can have a good environment to grow up, and at the same time, if possible, to be versatile, not just good at one thing, but to be good at other things. So the environment has to be able to provide this. The other one is environmental sustainability. That's another aspect that we definitely would like to have. Apart from that, would be the international and also be pluralistic.
It's interesting. I have a lot of conversations on this podcast about the design of a free city. And I'm pleased to hear you say that the neighbourhood issue is being addressed, because it is a really important one, and I agree with you wholeheartedly. And obviously, I've travelled in China quite a bit.
Oh, okay.
And I was even once sent to China by a magazine to do an article about old China versus new China.
Oh, okay.
Right, and it's the contrast is astonishing.
Yes.
When you see places in China, and I don't know how many there are left now, because it's changing incredibly fast. This was 20 years ago.
Okay.
But the layout of residential places was very different before the high-rise buildings came into being.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering what your plan would be in your mind. Can you describe it? How does a neighbourhood in one of your charter cities look?
Okay.
Obviously, not going upwards.
No. We heard that vertical neighborhood is no neighborhood. Yeah, so tall, high-rise building, tall building would not be something that we would like to look at. Basically, I think it should be very low density, family houses. That would be ideal. We can have some apartment buildings, but not taller than maybe several floors. And at the same time, first of all, it has to have a lot of open space, pockets of space along the streets where people can sit down, they can walk their dogs and chat to each other. I always chat to my neighbors in the Finchley Central in London, and we get to know each other very well, and we visit each other. So I think a lot of open space and also placemaking is very important. And at the same time, the streets has to allow people to walk, to run, to cycle. Because cycling and walking is the best ways to know your neighbors and to know the environment, the city. If you are in a car, you just jump on your car when you get out of your door, and then you go to a destination. Then you don't have any interaction. The other thing is maybe we have to look at the design of the retail. Because retail shops is something that can build a relationship. I mean, if you go to these shops, they are not chain store, they are kind of a mom and pop shop or the neighborhood shops. You know the owner, you talk to each other and become friends. I think this is also very important, rather than all the relationship are very cold, totally commercial. That's not good. And if possible, we should have more places, amenities for art, for culture, for some heritage, and also, if possible, have some space where we can do some big events, make the city attractive and interesting, especially to the young people and new businesses.
So after the Malaysia plan was scuppered, tell me what other inroads you've made into locations, for example, and how far are you along? Okay.
The first project that we looked at was Indonesia, but we never talked about it in the media because it didn't went too far because at that time we were looking at an island which has several 100 square kilometer, big enough, and we have some military representatives saying that they can grant us this right of 100 years or more. But then finally we found out that they are asking for bribery. So we stopped that.
Where was that, if you don't mind me asking? Was that south of Singapore somewhere?
Yeah. I forgot the name of the island, but then it's very interesting. We can build a bridge over there, and then it will become a totally, almost like an autonomous region.
I lived in Indonesia when I was younger.
Okay.
I did. And I wasn't as well off as I am today, and we had to travel. When we travelled from Singapore to Jakarta, we used to travel by a ship.
Oh, okay.
The Pelni ship, it was called.
Okay.
It's like Pelni, Peln.
Yeah.
And it stopped hundreds of times, but the only way to get it was you went from Singapore, you got a little motorboat to an island just south of Singapore, and then another island, and then another island, and then you got on the boat. But I know there are hundreds of islands around there.
Yeah.
And a lot of them were thinking about being developed. Even in the sort of 90s, people were thinking, they were places for people from Singapore to go for a beach holiday or something.
I would say those environments are very ideal because very natural, and it's virgin land. And it's scalable, very big in size. So those are good. But then we don't want to pay bribery, pay money to some government official or military to achieve our aim, because this means that in the very beginning our approach is wrong. So anything can happen in the future.
And what about the Indonesian government's were they welcoming to the idea of a charter city?
We don't know, because the target that we were talking to was from the military, so we are not sure.
Okay, but do you have any idea? Because it's not something that a lot of governments like to entertain.
Yeah, but then the general, the family members of the general, they said that they can do it.
Not in a. Not in the right way.
Yeah, not in the right way. And we don't want to do things illegally. And we want this to be a place where we have several generations. We can live and develop there safely, peacefully, and pursuing our own life. But if we have to do something like that, we'd rather not do it.
Okay. Yeah. So after Indonesia?
And then we look at Ireland and the Republic of Ireland, and we talked to the Irish government, the government officials there. They were quite receptive, and we look at 6 different areas, and we believe that Ireland was very good in the sense of several aspects. One is the economy was good. They have the lowest tax among all the developed countries, 12.5% corporate tax. And the second thing is about this. They want to expand their population by 1 million in the 20 or 30 years time, and they also want to expand their cities. So they want to develop some new cities. So all those give us tax, and so we approach them and talk to them. And we kind of try to get their help to identify some sites.
Why Ireland, though? I mean, other than that, it's a long. When I think of the globe, when I think of the whole globe and places to think about starting a charter city, I think one of the last places I'd think of would be somewhere in Europe. I think I'd start because we the bureaucracy in Europe is very old and ingrained. But so what was the result of speaking with the people in Ireland? Did you get any progress?
Okay. Well, first of all, for Hong Kong people, we are in pursuit of freedom and democracy. So first of all, we would look at those free and democratic countries where the government is law-abiding. If the government is not law-abiding, then we will get ourselves into trouble again. Like Beijing, they are not keeping their promise of one country, two systems for 50 years but they change it now, not more than half of it. So free and democratic country where the government is law-abiding is the key. So we look at the developed countries, and I think EU is very good to us because it will open the door to many countries in European Union. And the third one is, I believe that at that time when we have this Lehman Brothers global financial crisis, Ireland was badly hit, but then after that they rose very strongly, especially attracted a lot of tech companies to their island and established their European headquarters, that sort of thing. So we believe that this country is kind of forward-looking, and we were in discussion, but then in the middle of it, the British government, the UK government, they announced the BNO visa because the Beijing imposed the national security law onto Hong Kong 1st of July 2020. And the next day, the British government announced this BNO visa.
What's that?
The British National Overseas Visa.
BNO visa?
Yeah, to all Hong Kong people.
Which is what?
Which is a wide open door for all of us who were born before 1997 in Hong Kong. You are qualified to come to the UK to work, to live, to study, or to do nothing. That means even if you are retired, you don't have a job, you can come because you were British subject before 1997. You were born in Hong Kong, so you are qualified to come. And the BNO's visa scheme also allow us to bring our dependents, like children and our parents, to come together. So the number of BNO visa holder who are qualified to come to the UK, the total number is 3 million. And if we bring our dependents together, it would be 5.3 million. So it's a wide open door for all of us. And as long as we can prove that we have sufficient funding to live in the UK for 6 months, that's it.
And why did that? So are you saying that because that visa became into existence, the prospect of moving to Ireland wasn't as...
Well, because all along when we were working with the Irish government, trying to identify land and talk to landowners, that sort of thing, we have been asking ourselves, how can Hong Kong people migrate to Ireland? They have this investment immigration scheme, but it would require, I think, if I don't remember wrongly, is require 2 million euro, and that's a lot of money to most people. And so we have been wondering how we can do it. And as a civil organization, as a commercial company, we cannot lobby the Irish government for change in immigration law. It's impossible, and they won't listen to us. So once the door is open for the BNO visa for Hong Kong people, then we just shift our focus to the UK. And we think that this is the market that there will be a lot of Hong Kong people taking advantage of this BNO visas, come to the UK, settle here, start a new life.
So you're looking at a charter city in the UK?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah. We have been trying that for the past 2.5 years. Still, up to today, we are still trying to secure the first sites.
Can you speak about the sites and where they are? And
we look at several sites, and one of them we are currently still looking at and still talking to the council, the local council, is in Kent.
In Kent?
Yeah.
That's where I'm from.
Okay. Where from?
Tunbridge in Kent.
Oh, okay.
Do you know?
Yeah. And we have been talking to the council for the past few months. And in fact, this project got into our focus almost like 2 years ago. when I just arrived in UK, we talked to the council leader and the executives there, and we prepared our proposal. That was a very good proposal, a joint venture, meaning that they use the land as the joint venture assets, and we put in extra capital to develop it. But our proposal, I don't know, maybe because we want to develop it even much faster than they think, and maybe they want more control. Finally, we didn't agree with each other. And
can you describe the site? Is it like a greenfield site?
Greenfield site.
Because that probably would have been an issue for people. Because
well, they have already got through all the planning approval.
And is it close to? Is it literally on its own? So it would be a brand new city or village.
Yes.
I suppose town.
Yes,
town
yes.
would be a better.
Yes. That one is quite huge. The total area size is about 7 square kilometers.
Really?
Yeah. And
whereabouts is it? What's it near?
Well, very south of Cairns. And
sort of like southeast or south, like the Brighton, or
next to Dover.
Next to Dover,
yeah. And it would allow them to develop more than 10,000 new homes.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it's enormous.
I mean, why have I never heard of that in the news in the UK? Is it just even the local news? Did it make it into the local news?
Yes. Because they have gone through this over the last few years. They acquired the land, and then they have to plan how to develop it. And we look at the plan. We look at they have a charter. We look at the charter, which is not a legal document. It's about how they are going to develop it. 50% being green, being green, and they have they will build 7 primary school and 2 secondary school. I think all the and they look at this placemaking, things like that. So we look at their master plan, and the charter is just 100% fit into what we want to do. So we believe that this should be our project. And at the same, the only thing is, in terms of work opportunity or job opportunities, there's not enough at the current plant, and we would like to expand it if possible in the future to have some commercial area, industrial area where we can create a lot of jobs.
So what is the current stage of it, and what's your own feeling about where it's going? And,
up to this moment is still uncertain because they changed their council leader, and we met with the new council leader a few weeks ago, and we had a very candid discussion with each other. And we told them that we would like to develop the whole site together with them rather than a single piece like a home builder. And the second thing is we would like to develop it much faster because originally they thought that it should develop, the whole development period for 10,000 new house would be 30 years. And I would have died. So, and I can't do any financial projection for 30 years. I mean, no one can do that. And so we would like to shorten it to half or even 12 years. But I understand their rationale because they were based on this local demand each year, how many houses can be sold. And so each year, I think they are looking at 300 something. So to sell all 10,000, it would require them 30 years.
And how would it work with regards to people from Hong Kong coming or local people buying houses? Would the property just go on the open market?
Open market.
In the same way?
Yes.
So how would you know that people from Hong Kong would come?
Oh, yeah. Well, in fact, we have now more than 160,000 Hong Kong immigrants using the BNO visa to come to the UK to start a new life. And we live everywhere. I mean, I know a lot of people live all the way down to Southampton, Brighton, and Kent is a popular area because it's the Garden of England, and we have people live. A lot of people live in Manchester, Nottingham. So Hong Kong people are looking for new way of living, not high rise anymore. But we do. Some of us still like tall buildings near Canary Wharf on the east side of London. So we have different preferences, and I think for this site, if we can create a lot of jobs, then it would attract them to come. And at the same time, I think this provide an alternative to them. And I would not like to develop some very expensive properties. Rather, I would like to develop some more affordable housing where they find it cheaper to come to live and to maybe work from home or go to nearby to work.
Can you tell me what, in your mind, the difference between building a new town in the UK and building a charter city town? What's the difference in the reality of it?
Yeah.
Not even just how would, if I was to walk into a charter city in the UK, how would I know it's a charter city?
Oh, well, in the UK right now we don't call ourselves charter city because that's very sensitive. Whenever we talk to local people or the council people or government, they think that we are going to change the political system, social system. No, we are not. In fact, the UK is already very mature and very stable, and open and democratic. So we don't need that. We don't want to reinvent the wheel. So what we want to do is we want to develop 21st century new city, which is a kind of a branding where we would like to implement the several principles that I have mentioned, like family friendliness, neighborliness, that sort of thing, and to integrate with the local people and people from around the world, environmentally sustainable, that sort of thing, and to be able to raise your children, next generation. But in fact, when we do that, we would have similar to what this council is doing, is to have a charter so that everyone understand what this city mean or this town mean, and what are the values and principles that we treasure, and we try to keep to it, and at the same time, maybe if possible, we can have some Cantonese classes in schools, or to teach children about the history of Hong Kong or the relationship with the UK, and also to have some cultural heritage programs, especially to commemorate the festivals in Hong Kong, important days, things like that.
So your charter would be suggestions. It's
Yes.
It's not that you would be able to say, okay, here are the rules.
No.
And similarly with things like regulations, say building regulations, you still have to build according to the regulations of the land of the UK. Let's say. Yeah.
We would in terms of the buildings, we would like to respect the heritage, the legacy over there. But at the same time, we would like to bring in some changes. Some new elements, things that it will bring benefits to the future generations. And on the soft side, we would like to implement some soft element, the principles, those kind of things, so as to make life different from an ordinary garden village.
How about the design of the houses? Can you think? Do you have plans, architectural plans, or is it with actual design on them, not just plans? I mean, house design plans.
Yeah, we haven't gone into that, but then in our own kind of internal reference, we would like to have a mix of British, Victorian, and even modern, contemporary. A mix of these, and so as to, as I described, we want to make our city or the town be attractive and interesting, not monotonous or not single tone, that sort of thing. So we would like to offer different choices and options, and maybe even some of them we can allow the owners to build their own house. So those are the few things that we have been thinking about.
So it's fascinating because I would imagine, I mean, I'm from the UK, so I would imagine that there is an amount of pushback from local people.
Yeah.
In the same sense that in Honduras there is pushback from local people. How's that? I mean, first of all, how known about are these plans in the general local population? Is it something that people know about?
Well, in fact, right now they don't know about it, our plan, and because we are just talking to the council. And the second thing is the council has already done a lot of social engagement, local community engagement throughout their master planning process. So I think they have done a good job. And but in the future, if we come into the picture, joint venture with them, develop this project, we would also like to engage the local people. Come and give us your opinion. What's your expectation? If we come and live here, how can we mix well with the local people and the local businesses? And what can we do better together? I think to make it even better. So I think those are the few things that we would like to do. Social engagement to us is definitely the top priority.
Do you, by any chance, have a name for the town?
Oh, no.
No. Have you thought about it?
That is too sensitive.
No, but presumably you have thought.
Well, I have thought about a name. Maybe you have been to Hong Kong several times. You know a place where in the middle of Hong Kong Island.
The hill in the middle.
Not the hill. Well, our company is called Victoria Harbour. No, we are not going to call it Victoria Peak. You've been to the race course in Hong Kong?
No, I haven't.
Okay. It's called Happy Valley.
Happy Valley.
That's the name, a name which come to my mind all the time.
Happy Valley.
Yeah,
Brilliant.
Happy Valley.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
It does sound like a retirement home, though.
Well, if everyone lives there happily, then I think that's the best outcome.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. So, what about according to you then? What's the timeline going forward?
We don't know. I mean, thank you for asking this question. We have been asking ourselves when. I mean, we have spent already 2.5 years here, and without securing the first site. And we don't know. I mean, it depends on, maybe we call it the luck. And I'm a Christian, so I would leave it to God to guide us where it will be. And I hope the sooner the better, but we are not in control.
What's the general feeling in Hong Kong then of people like yourself for the timeline of Hong Kong in the next few years?
Oh, that's a very sad outlook. I think the expectation is, from my own point of view, I think Hong Kong situation will deteriorate even further. In fact, right now Hong Kong is in the free fall mode, free diving.
Free fall.
Yeah, free fall. Every day we heard about bad news and very foolish policies and measures, and all these things are not doing Hong Kong any good, and some of them doing harms to Hong Kong. And you just look at the Hang Seng Index, the stock market index in Hong Kong. At the peak of 2019, our stock market was like 26,000 to 28,000. Look at now, it's just 17,000. Or 18,000. So that shows the confidence of the people, of the businesses, and also of the foreigners. And the second thing is, right now everyone is scared about the white terror. everyone is not speaking. And at night, there's no nightlife. As you know, Hong Kong was almost like a city of sleepless city in the before. It has very vibrant nightlife, but now after 8:30 at night, restaurant has no customers on the street, no people walking. I mean, just disappear.
And why is that? What's your reason for that?
I think there are several reasons. One is people are not interested in spending money in Hong Kong. Most of the middle class, especially those with children, they are planning to leave Hong Kong. So whenever the friends gather together for dinner or lunch, the first question would previously in the last 2 or 3 years, they ask, will you leave Hong Kong? Now they changed the question is, when are you going to leave Hong Kong? So they don't have any more sense of belonging, and they don't have the mood to spend money. Rather they just save more money for their immigration, immigration. And the second thing is the young people, they don't have any trust in the government anymore, because throughout the last few years, the government has been targeting young people. Look at the number of the people being arrested and detained. More than 10,000 protesters, counselors, lawyers, journalists, academia, and even students and housewives. Over 10,000 of them have been arrested, and 50% of them are under the age of 25, and 15% of them are minors, underage. So as you can see, I mean, the young people, they don't have trust in the government anymore. So they rather go to Shenzhen to spend their money rather than spending the money in Hong Kong. And they don't want to go out at night in case they bump into police and then they get into trouble.
I suppose that must be a hard pill to swallow for yourself, having lived there. Lived there your whole life.
Yeah.
And presumably having invested not only a lot of your time, but a lot of your money in the country itself.
Yes. I think this is a very sad and undesirable outcome. But currently we are facing this reality that the government is not doing anything good for Hong Kong, and taking away all the freedom, all the elements which made Hong Kong very successful in the past. They just took away those and keep on doing harmful things to Hong Kong, and not trusting Hong Kong people. And they ask the Hong Kong people to trust them, but they don't trust the Hong Kong people. So, I mean, it doesn't work. And at the same time, every day is brainwashing about mainland China, how good they are, and we should be patriotic, we should love our country and Hong Kong. But I mean, when Uncle Sam asked American people to join the army, first of all, is the country have been treating the people very well, then they will answer Uncle Sam's request. But it's not the opposite. I mean, you can't do it. So basically, I think right now, Hong Kong people lack the confidence, they don't have the trust, and they don't see the future. And whenever possible, they don't spend money in Hong Kong, they don't raise children in Hong Kong, and they don't give birth, or even some of them, they don't get married.
Do you have a particular opinion on the future of the Communist Party in China? I mean, you know, we've seen what happens to those parties in the end in other countries. What do you think? I mean, it seems like a very powerful, and I don't know. It's a tricky one, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, I understand China quite well with my 10 years weekly trip to Beijing. So my outlook for CCP, the Chinese Communist Party, I think they are they have destroyed a lot of assets which China has built over all these years. And the harmful things that they did to the Chinese people with the Cultural Revolution, Big Leap Forward movement, a lot of people die, and they did a lot of wrong things in the past. The only reason they are still being legitimate to run the country is because they did a very good economic performance over the past 3-4 decades after the open door policy. But now, over the past 10 years under President Xi, I think he destroyed all these. So it's almost like look to me is coming to the end, and they still keep on destroying things. Like previously, when President Xi took office, China has a very good relationship with Hong Kong, U.S., the West, EU, everyone, Taiwan. And now all these relationships were destroyed. And the second thing is we used to have a very strong economic performance in the past. Now the real estate market burst, and we have a lot of local debts in China which are unresolved. And people's income is very now they have a salary reduction in the civil servants, and the young people unemployment rate has gone up to according to some sources they estimate it has gone up to 50%, and they now stop announcing the unemployment rate of young people.
It's convenient.
Yeah. Ostrich. And so basically, I think the whole China is getting into trouble. No more foreign direct investment, or very little. And it fell by 80%, I think. And export is not looking good. And foreign investment have been retreating from China. I don't know how they are going to resolve all these at one time. And now they try to declare a war with Taiwan. These are Chinese people. We are brothers. At least we are brothers. So why you have to fight with your brothers? For what reason?
Well, it's interesting to get your perspective, and thanks for talking today. I've really enjoyed this conversation. I'm astonished that I'd never heard of your proposal.
Okay.
Well, it's it. I live in the UK.
Okay.
I don't live in Kent anymore.
Okay.
But I think it's a phenomenally interesting project, and I'm looking forward to sort of keeping updated with it.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I would like to keep you posted of our progress, and in fact, maybe we have different languages because when I first launched this International Charter City project, we did a YouTube video with my friend who asked me to do projects for Hong Kong people overseas. That video, half an hour, we have more than 100,000 viewers. So yeah, it was quite popular at that time, and many of these audience, they just left their comments asking when I can move in and where it will be.
Are there other people doing similar things? Other Hong Kongers?
No, not that I know of. No.
One other thing before you go, actually, because Peter told me to ask you about citizens' passports, global citizens' passports. What are global citizens' passports?
Well, coming to this point, because over the past few years, we suddenly found out that the freedom that we have been enjoying, it's like the air we breathe, and we were enjoying it unknowingly. And then one day we lost it and we stifled. And at that time, we know that, we lost the freedom. So I think to us, I think nowadays, people, especially the young people, they treasure freedom. They look for a lifestyle which can echo or reflect their values, their principles, their priorities in life, and especially an environment where they can bring up their children proudly. So these are the trend, and so with the work from home culture being prevailing, I think people would like to choose where they want to live, where they want to work, and an environment where they can bring up the children with this pursuit of a free and caring lifestyle. And caring not just about humanity, but also about the earth. So I think if possible in the future, we should have a global citizen passport, which would allow people to move from one country to another, choose the place where they want to live and work, and also be associated with the values and principle where can reflect their own. So I think this is a time that we should be thinking of this global citizen passport. You may ask me why this is the right time. I would give you this example that over the past few years, 22 countries have already provided special visas to digital nomad, and 12 of them are in Europe. And so these governments are providing special visa for the digital nomad to come and live and work there without being their citizens. And they can stay there for 6 months up to 5 years. Some of them offer reduced tax or free tax. So the trend is the government is now trying to attract people to their countries, not just because of money, not investment immigrants, but people who have their own work, who have their own businesses, and they care about they have a global perspective. So I think this is the right time that we should kind of try this, at least among our libertarian society, the Free Cities ecosystem. I mean, this group of people. I think we can start with that.
I take it that's in the idea stage.
Yes.
No, I like the idea. I love the idea.
I had this idea almost like 20 years ago when I think it was Google, which have this, I don't remember the name of the competition. They are inviting 100 ideas from around the world, and I submitted this idea, but I heard nothing from them. But then, yeah.
One last question. I saw a film crew following you around yesterday. Mm-hmm. What's that about?
Oh yeah. One day, almost like 2.5 years ago or 3 years ago, a lady just approached me. I think it's from LinkedIn or whatever, and asked me if she can meet me and talk about the International Charter City project. So I said yes, why not? Because throughout those 1-2 years, we have already got more than 100 volunteers from around the world, most of them in Hong Kong, but some of them in different parts of the world, trying to offer their help in our International Charter City. So we have we have 10 industry groups from manufacturing, financial, legal, education, media, culture, all walks of life. And so we have these volunteer groups, and so I think she wants to be a volunteer. But then when I met her, she said, I'm a filmmaker. I am a film director, so can I document your activities and out of my own pocket, she want to produce a documentary of Hong Kong people, different Hong Kong people doing different things after 2019. And I said, yes, why not? And so she almost like go to many different occasions where we have meeting with government official, landowner, or site visit. And sometime when we have our core team meetings, she was shooting, and I make it open to her and leave the editorial right to her without interfering. And we are not. Including myself, not subsidizing her in any way.
And when might we be able to see that film?
I respect her work a lot, and I find it very interesting. People like her, a very young documentary director. I think she's in 20-something, 26, 27. And she target to finish it in the year of 2025. And
Wow.
she will enter that into international film competitions. And I think she will do a very good documentary.
That's a long-term project into 20.
Yes. Her name is Kayla. She's very good. She's very focused.
Well, thanks for talking to us, Ivan. Great to hear about your project, and good to have someone else in the Free Cities movement doing something unusual like everyone else.
Oh, yeah. Well, when Kayla said, when Kayla met me and she talked to me, she said, you know what? I thought you were crazy. And after attending this conference, she said, no, you are not crazy. There are other people more crazier than you are. So, I think let us all have a dream and try to do something crazy. I think humans' advancement can only be bring forward, breakthrough through crazy thinkings. Without crazy thinkings, we are nothing.
Hallelujah. Absolutely true. And you're inspiring me. And I agree. This movement is full of crazy dreamers.
Yes.
But a lot of us are also builders, yourself included.
Yes.
And these two factors together, I think, are a super powerful force.
Yeah, so I hope we can make things happen. And if not, then we inspire the people.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ivan, thank you for coming on. It's been a pleasure to talk to you.
Yeah, me too. Thank you. Bye.